Well, most of the times things very special rise up and they come and they catch your eye. Back in the day, I decided to get myself a white scrum cap so that everyone can notice me on the field. Never knew what this had to inspire or do anything, maybe to someone else. But this player came through with his own white scrum cap, came through with his own ways of how he does things. This man didn't just go and dominate spaces from Mitchell's Plain, but he went to Diocesan College and decided that it was time for him to represent his own people in his own way. He didn't just end there. Stormer's legend. He carried on, went to WASP. If you talk about WASP and you talk about this young man and what he has done there, it's a legacy, it's a story, it's something that we all are proud of because of what the efforts he had shown. This man went on to represent the green and gold, got his caps, moved back to South Africa, gone through a lot of a journey with him, going through challenges, answers, questions, and now a senior player and a massive member of the Blue Bulls squad. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about Nizaam. Everyone calls him Nemo. Nemo Carr. Nizaam, otherwise you all, my guy.
No, very good. Thank you so much for that introduction, Bobs. For the past couple of weeks, we've been trying to get hold of each other.
Yeah.
And so glad we're finally here. And to chat to a legend like yourself, I really feel honored. So thank you so much.
No, it's been crazy. I mean, we you plan things. And then there's rugby there, and there's life.
Exactly,
and you have to do what's been keeping you busy, because I saw you as we were trying to catch up, you had a sling. What's up?
So I'm 8 weeks post my operation. I tore my bicep tendon obviously 8 weeks ago post the op, which was very unfortunate because I was going to captain the side in the Currie Cup for the Vodacom Pool. So that was a shame, but I think in the end of the day, God has a plan for everyone, and that's I'll probably chat later about my fate.
Yeah.
But that's been obviously keeping me busy. Luckily, I'm out of the sling now. I had to wait for 6 weeks. It was quite tough and painful, sleeping in it and showering and all those small stuff. Can't hold my babies or picking them up. So it's been tough, but I'm sort of over that, or I overcame that as well, as you mentioned, the challenges I've been through. So and then besides that, I've got 2 kiddies, 6 years old and 4 years old, a boy and a girl.
In the trenches?
Exactly, yeah. And then I've also got a lovely wife, Aisha, obviously doing a lot of amazing work when I'm away from home. Obviously I've got my training practices, currently doing rehab now. So it's basically full-time job, full rugby from 8 to about 3-4 in the afternoon, and then play another match basically when I get home with the kids. So it's quite hectic, but we try and find the right times and space for to have an impact on a lot of people's lives. And just by showing up, you don't have to even say something or your actions, but just by showing up, I think that's a big thing that us South African or professional rugby players can do.
Let's talk to that thing of showing up. I look at that Lansdowne Academy that you started. I mean, there was a very, very young, I could say, age in your career to have started. What was important about that Lansdowne Academy, and what was it about it that sort of you felt that it was giving you the place to be?
Yeah, no, look. If I look back now, I didn't understand the magnitude of it all, and it's a pity that we couldn't obviously carry on. And obviously me being now over in Pretoria, but I had really good guys and right-hand mans to run the process. But we took a break on that because I wanted to obviously focus on my career. But what an experience, unbelievable, and. I got given an opportunity through a rugby coach. I was at the time playing soccer. I've been in England, so I'm not allowed to say soccer. You must say football. So I was first a football player. In fact, all sports. I mean, volleyball, hockey, all of them, and I'll come back to that. But my opportunity was given through rugby by a sir called Mr. Rugby, Edward Rugby, and I just felt like that's what I wanted to do with this academy now back in Lansdowne, to give back in my small little way to give them opportunity because of this, sir. And I'll carry that throughout my life just to, just to give back. And I think also at the time now, I see things maybe more clearer now, and opportunity goes a long way. And now where I grew up, people, they've got this stigma of we've got lesser opportunities and stuff like that. But I think that's not true. You need to create your own opportunity. And that's by working hard, sacrificing your time, waking up early in the morning. Those sort of small things. And I call it luck is going to create your luck, going forward. And through the opportunity, that's how you get your chance going for like obviously going forward, yeah.
Let's talk about that. I mean, I mentioned the intro, Mitchell's playing. Everyone, the first thing they think about Cape Flats, they think gangsterism, they think all of this. But there's families there that hold the fort down. There is responsible, there is role models. Your sort of side of seeing and Mitchell's playing, and now perspective is different, right?
Exactly.
You're a bit older, there's a bit of hindsight.
Yeah.
You talk about the chance and opportunity you have to create for yourself. I can feel that passion. Talk to me about those positives that you saw and then you gathered that have sort of, in a way, propelled you forward.
No, like if I look back to Mitchell's playing, there's so many people thriving. I mean, you mentioned earlier Dale Santon. Eddie Andrews is also a Springbok from Mitchell's playing.
Mayor.
Exactly.
Deputy
running
mayor.
now as well. So that's amazing. And I can go across the whole board, businessmen, CEOs, everywhere. A lot of the times we focus on a lot of negative stuff. And unfortunately, that's also what, as South Africans, we look at, which is quite sad. And you can't overlook it as well, because the crime rate and I mean, I grew up, as you mentioned, maybe in a disadvantaged area, but that doesn't determine your future going forward. And I think at a very young age, yes, you're around boys standing on the corners and smoking, and there might be fights breaking out and stuff like that. But inside, I always had this vision, this dream that I want to be. I don't know what it was, but I wanted to be a sportsman. I didn't know that it will materialize that quickly, because things just, in a blink of an eye, I'm 34 years old, as you can see now with a bald head, but it materialized really quickly. But I've always had that something, I wanted to be something in my life. And that's not going at anybody else in Mitchell's playing, but I wanted to represent my country. And in fact, I was a football player. Never knew rugby at all. I only started it at the age of, 11, 12 years old.
Yeah.
And funny enough, I always mention the story. I played winger. And at that time, Brayton Paulson was the wing. And I think I mentioned this before. I would chip the ball like he did back in the day.
Skopikis, I used to call it.
Exactly, yeah. And obviously, he would gather the chip kick or whatever it's called right now. But I was so chubby or fat, as people would call it, I never gathered the ball again. So that's when I decided, like, maybe wing is probably not the place for me to play. And that's when they moved me, down to the forward pack, and thoroughly enjoyed it. But coming back to answer you, I've always had this something in me, and I don't know what it's called, but I wanted to be something. And I'm so grateful and lucky. So far I've been blessed with so many things, so many opportunities. I've seen the world. And I could also say that if it wasn't for this path I would have taken, I don't know where else I would have been now. Because I don't enjoy sitting with books. I don't enjoy sitting in the office, I like to do things, a whole lot physical work involved. So I'm really blessed in that sense that I chose this path of rugby. Yeah.
Getting your hands dirty.
Exactly.
I mean... and this life, most important bit is to anchor yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always been mentioned, the first Muslim to do this, the first to do this, faith, the importance of faith within your life.
I mean, that's the whole basis of our life. That is, as we believe, is why we're living. Obviously, your family and stuff like that is important, but in the end of the day, we believe that there's an afterlife. So whatever we do now, it's gonna contribute to your, and it's simple. You have good deeds, bad deeds. Which one are you gonna choose? It's like good and which one will you choose? So I always felt like when things didn't go well, or if there's maybe an injury, like in 2012, I tore my ACL back in 2012 as well as my meniscus. And I always sit back and sort of reflect and put things into perspective. It's not a punishment by God, but it's just God trying to let you know that, just calm down a little bit. Maybe you're getting, too over eager, you're getting a bit, maybe your head's getting a little bit bigger or too arrogant. And then God is just like, listen, take 4 steps back, but as a slingshot, I'm going to shoot you forward 10 times again. So that was always the process that I took. Same with this injury now. And that's it. That's how I see it. Not as a punishment, just to, sort of take a chill pill and then, you go from there again. But 5 daily prayers, I try my best and do that. Obviously in the morning early, 1 o'clock, 3:30, 5, 6 o'clock, or 7. So 5 times a day, God calls out to you. Do you want success? And that's always how I, grounded myself that yes, I do. And that's how I always prayed and stuff like that. And with the praying, I don't believe anything would have been possible without the help of God and without His permission. None of this. And that's always been my faith. I took Ramadan still up to obviously today, very seriously. And it's a time in my life where that shapes my year going sort of forward, So faith is everything to me, yeah.
I mentioned that, and it's important because we have to think about players like Salaman. We have to think about Hassim coming up.
Yeah.
We have to think about the younger players coming into a very Christian-based rugby environment where there's different cultures. I'm a Xhosa man. I believe in the way that as an African, this is the way I sort of live, and these are the ways, these are the things, and these are the values that I'm trying to make sure that I uphold because of what I was taught from my forefathers. I mean, looking at these gentlemen, I mean, they are going to be challenged a whole lot. When you are coming up into the system and being of the faith that you are and being the man that you are and being taught these things from home, I mean, it was not just coming through the system, it's going to bishops. I mean, the bishops, if I'm not mistaken, Anglican school.
Correct.
I mean, how did you manage? What's been the Nizaam sort of way of coping with it?
Both, to be honest, it was quite tough. I mean, back then we had the Super Rugby. Obviously got the URC now. It's a whole lot better right now. But back then in 2011, 2010, when you were fortunate enough to be selected to go on tour, and at that time, obviously down under, which was Australia, New Zealand teams, Super Rugby teams, and not all of the hotels had halal food. Catering for halal players. But obviously now internationally there's more superstars coming through.
Yeah.
That's maybe Muslim by faith or boys who what's it called, kosher, or vegetarian. So that was the option. There was no halal food. I would obviously have a vegetarian because I know the Jewish people always also have like the kosher meals.
Yes.
And that's what I would eat. Or sometimes they want halal food, and my go-to was bread or porridge in the evening. But I was so lucky enough that I had really good managers over my career.
I was going to say.
Uncle Chippy, Mr. Elias, and obviously overseas in England. But they always found a way and made a way for me. Even it was, probably shouldn't say this, like a chicken licken or a KFC, but it was halal in New Zealand. We would go. At night, for lunchtime, they always made a plan that I would be happy because at the end of the day, I need to perform. I needed the proper nutrients, to eat well, sleep well, and maybe KFC over there was not probably the best nutritional meal, but you know what? It did the job.
Yeah.
And I'm very fortunate with the way I've eaten over the years. It's been, I'm lucky to be doing what I love for so long. considering not having the halal food back then, you know. And one thing that I look back now and I probably feel very not disappointed, if I can put it that way, but I was always shy to make a scene in front of the boys. I didn't want to step on any other people's toes and be like, I need halal food. I never demanded. Sometimes I would just go up to my room, maybe didn't eat, or just go across to the grocery store and get me a packet of noodles, instant noodles, just throw with a kettle of hot water. Because I didn't want to step or make a scene and oh, he's halal, he's different, and things like that. And if I look back, I feel like, why did I feel, you know, that way? I had to, you know, trust myself, trust my religion, that this was my way. And the more I came out of my shell, it was a whole lot easier. I didn't worry or stress, like, you know, about tonight, and you know, back then, Bobs, you probably had the same. You had a split dinner where maybe the backs would go this way, forwards would go this way. And you know, with the forwards, it's steak, you know, some beers, it's everything going, you know. So it was tough for me to you know, sit around there, but I embraced it all. It was my teammates. I enjoyed their company. My go-to was maybe chicken and stuff like that, or bread again. But, you know, looking back, I should have probably maybe demanded a little bit more because I was part of the team, you know. So looking back, I was very, very shy to bring, you know, those type of talks up to the manager and to the boys.
Yeah, I mean, when you sign a contract, you know, there's a lot of things that stipulated. You want to be a professional. You want to add value to the environment, and the environment itself has to, what can I say, balance itself to the times, to the nows. I mean, not to jump away. I mean, it must have been difficult for that environment for you, because you coming in and you thinking to yourself, you know, I just want to be a rugby player. I don't want to have an asterisk in front of me.
Yes, and you mentioned what the first Muslim Springbok. Beautiful, one of the best accolades I could have ever achieved as a rugby player. And I always saw it as that rugby speaks one language. It's not about what school you were at, the color of your skin. You can be green, blue, purple, any color. It speaks one language. And to have that accolade, beautiful, amazing. But the next day I had to carry on with my job, you know, and play the game that I love. So I don't see it as a, wow, that was amazing. It was just, to me, I just wanted to play, throw the ball around. As the boys say, let's jouer, you know, get the ball around and play. So for me, it was never about, you know, what school and your background, where you come. I just believe if you've got something special within, I think you can achieve anything in your life.
But let's go back to Cape Town. Muslim teams.
Yeah.
How difficult was
tough,
it?
Tough.
Because, I mean,
tough.
People don't understand the culture of club rugby. I think there was a stat at once upon a time, I think just early 2000s, and someone came up with this, if I'm not mistaken, it was one of the senior coaches, and he said, there is more club rugby players in the Western Cape region, thinking about the Boland Club Rugby, thinking about Western Province Club Rugby, than there were in Ireland.
Wow. Just in Western Cape, eh? Yeah.
And I haven't mentioned the country.
Yeah.
And for me now, I know like the deer, the tiger bird, the boys used to come from gardens and those and northerns and those type of games. I mean, talk to us about the culture of rugby within the community.
I was lucky. At the age of 15, I played first team. I had my first cap, and my dad didn't like it because he was a believer in like playing your age group. That's where you will excel. And I think at the time he didn't know I was playing first team. He just found out afterward. But anyway, started at Collegians. This is all obviously your southern suburb clubs basically, and Muslim teams. Started at Collegians, went on to Primroses, played against SK Hormers.
Yes.
There's Surrey Estate Rangers, there's Manenberg Rangers, there's, you know, tough teams, Hamadiyas, all Muslim teams. And they will do anything to win. really passionate, loves their rugby.
Competitive.
Lots of Bok fans, lots of All Black fans. So whenever, like last week, you
Yeah.
didn't hear much about the Springbok fans because they would go at each other the whole time, but unbelievable. And like I said, they'll do anything to win. If they have to beat you up, they will do that to win. You know, so if they have to play the referee and stuff like that, they will do that to win. So there's a lot of talent going out there, and you know, I always say I wish them all the best, and those guys in the end of the day support me wherever I am in the world. They might not love the Vodacom Bulls because they always say I'm a traitor. Even my own family, they're like, "What are you? You changed the one blue Western Province for another blue, but that's a wrong shade of blue." So they're like, "How could I have done that?" You know, to them. So even my family up to today can't believe that I joined the Vodacom Bulls, but. You know,
Life,
it is what it is what it is, and you know you have to do the best for you and your career and your family going forward.
I mean, that opportunity of playing representative rugby at school, Craven Week, Western Province. I mean, just knowing that the names that have gone through and playing at Western Province, when you got that opportunity, were you aware of where you're stepping yourself into?
Not at all. I had absolutely no idea. Even so, what I was getting myself into. As I said before, all-round sportsman, cricket, athletics, hockey, even sometimes we'd play netball with the girls.
Yeah.
Wherever there was balls around, we were there. I mean, you probably exactly the same, Bobs. My parents didn't know I was playing rugby, but every day I would come home with the torn pants, shirt, buttons is gone, maybe a cut blue shiner. Yes, I think I saw AP had a shiner last week, but exactly the same. And they didn't know I played, and they got called through I went obviously for the Western Province trials, the tryouts, and that's how they found out. Your son has been selected to represent the under 11 or under 13 Craven Week team. You invited to the capping ceremony. And that's how they found out. Like, that's how.
What is the talk? What was the talk?
No, like at that time, because I've got obviously uncles, dad, grandparents, like who played rugby, so it's in the blood.
Yeah.
And we were quite young, but we were playing football or soccer. And that's how they found out. But my dad wasn't upset. And ever since then, the foundation, the support was to the next level. And I think that played a massive role in disappointments in my career. They were there for me. Challenges, they were there for me. Traveling, playing at, Affies, tournaments in East London, Craven Weeks going here.
Sometimes you have to raise funds.
Exactly. And they would be there. So my support system was unbelievable, always there, backing me, supporting me. And that's how they found out. And ever since, the rest is history. The love for the game just grew, and now we're all fanatics. It's a sport that we live, dream, eat, sleep. We wake up, we speak about it again. This is everything to us. This is it.
I mean, you talk about that support, and people think support is like just having people around you. Internally, to you, what has that support sort of done or did at that time?
At times I was like, my family's backed me so much, it would be a nightmare if I disappoint them. And I played with a lot of pressure. My dad, unfortunately, passed away just over 3.5 years ago. So that was, and at the time I was at WASP, and with the Muslim burial, they do it the same day. So I was out in London, I couldn't fly back and stuff like that. So that was for over probably 8 months to up to a year, I lost the love for the game because I invested so much in giving back to them in terms of I wanted to make them proud. And whenever I walked off the field, I felt like I did a good job. So when I lost my dad, because he was sort of the center of our, like any other dad in the family or mom or whatever, the center of, everything revolves around, is the energy giver, is the provider. And that is how we grew up seeing our fathers. So when I lost him, that was a massive, massive blow for me because I always played like I wanted to impress them always. And there were plans from coaches, forward plans and maps that we needed to run. I didn't care about any map. I was like, I'm making my dad proud. And I think that kept me on my toes, because probably 90% of my games, I wouldn't say he wasn't happy, but he would always challenge me to do more, to go for extra run, to recover better, or do something more. And I always felt like, oh, I was a little bit short here. Let me push more. And that's, I think, was a key to, or the biggest influence in my life. Obviously, my mom was also there. Proper nutrients, the food, the kit was always washed, made sure like everything was, needed for the match and stuff like that. So I mean, as you can tell, this was our life. Everything revolved around the sport. Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, and condolences to you.
Thanks.
I know how losing a father is tough, especially as a man. Sometimes, like I lost my dad, and to have him to be, sometimes just to tell him that, yes, now I see you, what you were saying to me when I didn't understand.
I'll tell you a funny story. Like, obviously, I see it with my kids now. Like, the biggest thing that bugs me off now is turning off the light switch. So I always say to my kids, turn off the light. You're not reading a book or doing anything in the room. And my dad did the same, and I think about it.
You're like, I'm sorry.
Like, why? I'm sorry, Dad. Why did So I did the same, and I see it now through my kids. So I wish I can just tell you, Dad, you were right.
Yeah.
And I should have maybe listened a whole lot earlier, but nonetheless, we enjoyed our time. We have beautiful memories together, and I'll cherish them forever going forward.
Yeah, I mean, just the presence. Sure, it's a very tough times, but that didn't happen. That happens during the COVID. That happens when you signed with Wasp, and I know, because we jumping around in this conversation, but your life is not a chart. It's a whole lot intercrossing, right?
Exactly.
That happens. You lose a job. COVID happens. I mean, you lose a job. The stress and the pressure. We all always think that we've got it sorted, right?
No, and
the reality of that.
Which it was probably one of the toughest things, being over there with my family, 2 kiddies. What now? What am I going to do now?
What was the terms and condition of the contract?
No, look,
you go there.
I believe when a club obviously filed for bankruptcy, I don't think they have to pay out anybody. And I mean, there were so many staff members, not only rugby players, but in the backroom staff and behind the scenes. Your camera, like everything, your chefs, everybody was obviously affected by it. People even, where our club was based, bought their properties there, based around obviously all these things. And I mean, to pay just a club with so much history, so much, accolades that they've won, the Champions Cup, the English everything. To go down like that was probably the toughest things to go through. I mean, they called us in, and they just, boys, we're sorry, we cannot, go forward with this, and you've all made basically redundant. And at the time, I was like, redundant. I was like, okay, this is not the words we use back home in South Africa. We use retrenched.
Yeah.
I'm out. People starting to cry, and I mean, you can hear the tears in the eye. It's a tough thing. And I'm like, what's going on? Did we get an increase in our salary contract here? But I'm on Google there in between my legs. I'm like, on Google, what is redundant? And as of now, you don't have a job. So the first thing I thought about, like, obviously my family and being over there, and then immediately I call my agent and stuff like that. And then clubs were spoiled for choice, because now all of a sudden you've got 65 players that you can choose from available. And that was a tough time. And in the world, not one club wanted me. And I said to my agent, I must be a bad player because
I know which word you want to use.
you know, you tell me in Japan, in South Africa, in Japan, France, you know, England, not one club. Not one, it's Division 2, Division 3. Am I that bad? So it's like, well, that's just, you know, the way the market is now. There's 65 players to choose from, so it is a tough time. And then I reach out, obviously, to Edgar Rathbone, the CEO, and Jake White. And immediately, within one day, they sent my deal over to me. And that's how I'll always be. Through the darkest moments, you'll always remember the people that's, you know, there for you.
Up.
And I'll always, you know, appreciate what they did for me. And, yeah, you know, they're very close to my heart. And I'll always carry them forward wherever I go, yeah. Because they were there when times are tough.
I mean, I can't fathom it. I always say to players, like, when you're an athlete and you retire, it's not retirement, you lose a job.
Yeah.
You have to find another income that has to come in at the end of the month. Something has to pop.
Yeah.
You've got responsibilities, and the older you get, the consequences are dire, you know?
Yeah. No, it's extremely tough.
How do you explain this to Aisha, and how do you...
And bearing in mind, Bobs, we heard the rumors, but it just hit all of us just like that. So the worst part is you couldn't prepare. You couldn't call like your agent and like start looking around and stuff like that. It was just like, bang, that's it. We're done. We cannot pay you anymore, and this is the plan going forward. So obviously, like I called Aisha, and yeah, it's a time where I don't like dwelling in the past, but it's something that you must look at, and that's part of your growth and part of your challenges. And the more you share it, it might help another kid going through that, or even not necessarily just any sportsman, but in people in other businesses.
Retrenchment.
Exactly, yeah. And with COVID that happened, obviously, across the globe, it's tough. People lost their work. People still don't have jobs. People still working from home, might not be on the same salary. So there's a lot of, you know, tough times, and that's why I feel it's important that I need to reflect on that and share it with the people.
I mean, to come back to it and to think now, like, I always sort of feel things that have recurrence in your life. I mean, we all wish we could play forever, but we all understand there is the inevitable.
Yeah.
How has that shaped you in how you're looking at your rugby career now?
To be honest, Bobs, I appreciate things more now. To answer you straightforward, obviously, as I mentioned before, injuries has put a lot of things into perspective, but out in the gym, appreciate it. Out on the field, training, appreciate that. Being in the company of the boys, just enjoy that moments, because I feel like it's obviously, like you mentioned, it's going to come to an end. And a lot of boys I talk to that retired is like they miss the routines. They miss the gym being at 10 o'clock. Okay, from there we're going to have a small protein shake or protein bar. Or we love structure. That's how I am as a person, in fact. So they miss those type of things. So to answer you, I appreciate everything, you know. And obviously I call it's landing the plane now, which is where I'm in my career. I obviously feel great, and I feel like I can go.
No, you're in good
hopefully
nick.
A lot longer.
No, you're in good nick.
Hopefully I can go a lot longer, but I also know that it's something that you have to think about and do some planning. And a good mate of mine, Gio Aplon and Johan de Jong, always advises me to, whatever you do, think about it, because just prep something. Obviously, God has plans for all of us, but just soften that landing, because it's so important. Just like, bang, you don't have it all. You don't have anything or the routine that you got so used to once upon a time. So soften that landing is what they would always tell me.
Sometimes we are so hard on ourselves, you know. We always think that we've got it all done. We all got it sorted. I mean, this is easy. I can do this. I look at that guy. He's done that.
Yeah.
How have you started to sort of forgive yourself when things don't go your way? Or do you?
No, of course. And that, I think it relayed from trying to impress like my family when I played. I sort of made peace of if you play well, great. If you don't do so well, great. It's also fine. But I used to beat myself up like if I didn't have a good match. And a lot of the times, and I know probably 99% of rugby players are like this, they live for like after game moments, like, well done, tapping on the shoulder. You had a great game, you know, fans coming out and the supporters, well done, they won your signature. But the moment that doesn't happen, maybe, for example, it's a small thing after the game, you sulk or you go into your shell like, bloody hell, I didn't play well. Which is, it shouldn't be like that. Think about when you were a kid, good or bad, you enjoyed what you did. And then it became like, I have to perform, I have to do this. There's more pressures on you. Obviously, the higher you go.
The more people.
The more, find enjoyment in what you are doing. And if you play badly, accept it, learn from that, and then you go forward. You might be dropped or not get another opportunity next week.
True.
But you might still be on the training field on Monday, Tuesday, and how can you better yourself? And have your moment. Don't dwell in the past. There's nothing you can do about it. And just go forward again. And that is how I approach it now, that good or bad, that's how things were written for you and being put out for you. There's nothing you can do now. How am I going to face my next step?
Yeah, and those small wins,
Small every single day. And this is what I tell the younger kids, Bobs. I mean, I'm still young.
No, you're a youngster.
I maybe might not look young, but
you're a youngster.
Never give up. And I know everybody say you hear it on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all social media. Never give up, because being a professional, it's not only about a Saturday or how you perform on a Saturday. It's what you do on the Monday. Are you in the cover? Are you in the ice bath? Are you in the sauna? What extra are you doing? How are you eating? You know, so the challenges you face is what makes you the professional. Not only Saturday performing, how do you get there? And sometimes you might not be selected to start or selected under 18 Craven Week or SA schools. What you going to do? Do you give up, or do you go again? And that's what I always tell you. You're going to be faced, I mean, you will know every single day with challenges. And that's what makes the professional who you are.
Yeah, that's gospel to me, because it's so easy to make performance your character, to define you. If you play a good game, I'm a great person.
Yeah.
If you play a bad game, oh, look at me, I can't do this. How do you disassociate from that? Because it's easy. I remember having you get like they call it the cock doctor.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell I played here at the Lions, and Southern Afrikaans used to be brought in. And, I'm like a psychologist. No, cop doctor.
Yeah.
And at first, in rugby, it was seen as a taboo thing. Like, he needs a cop doctor. Like something is wrong with that person.
Yeah.
But like, did you have to go through a situation where you sort of identify the person as like, this is Nizaam, this is a rugby player?
Yeah, no, we growing up, we never believed in these things. Like, if you spoke about your feelings, like you were sort of like soft. And in a rugby environment, if you're too emotional, or you can't take chances with boys, you can't make mistakes with boys because they will go at you. So I grew up like you deal with everything yourself. The pressures, everything, the world's on your shoulders, you're carrying a lot of stuff. And that's how I got through life. I never, it's just, you will know, but it's a man thing or a father thing. And that's how I saw my dad. And never, yes, we've got obviously Doc Henning now at Gerike at the Vodacom Bulls, the cop doctor, but I just never complain. Get on with it. stay calm, get on with it, don't get too emotional, and that's just how I saw it. And it's probably maybe bad advice going forward, because if something is bothering you, don't bottle it in.
Yeah.
Speak, get it out, you will feel a lot lighter. And this I only learned at a later stage in my career. And I, in fact, used maybe a few times a cop doctor, but I grew up like, I don't need him. I have to carry everything myself. And, but I feel like just chat to somebody.
Yeah.
You will be better off.
I mean, there is mentors that we have. Sometimes they put there in our lives without us even asking for them. Someone that you have faith and trust in. It could be that first team coach. Not the first team coach that wants tickets, who's always gonna say yes for everything, or be nice to you, even though they're just thinking, that was a terrible game. I don't know why the Stormers are picking him. How important it is to have, because we can't be carrying these burdens. It does get a bit heavy, and I mean, some players are pushed into a state where they'll rather act out of character. Like I've seen, I myself am a victim of having frustrations and feeling like, jeepers, if I just can go out with the boys and have a piss up and I'm there and all of this is happening, and then all of a sudden you find yourself 5 steps, 2 steps back, 2 steps forward, and there's a consistently of that fight and there's anxieties. I mean, now you're one of the senior pros. Your resume talks a lot of what you have done, the body of work. And I mean, it's not to say you've survived, but you've lived in rugby. You now as a senior pro, carrying that load, there's frustration. I mean, non-selection is probably the toughest thing for a professional sports person.
And being a professional sportsman is, I feel it's the toughest thing ever. Obviously, this is all I know, but it's one of the toughest things, as you mentioned. There's so many factors that you and that you have to face, and you also in a performance-based environment constantly. If you maybe have an off day today, or he's a bit lazy, or or he's not having.
There's a tag.
We always judge. People's watching us basically 24/7. So we need to tread very lightly and know what we are doing and almost execute our next move, because it's tough. You are a father. Obviously you're a player. Your kids need you. You need to be a public person. You can't be. It's just all the time, constant throwing battles at you all the time, but embrace it. And I love it, because if a kid asks me to sign his rugby ball, his jersey, I actually enjoy that.
Yeah.
And if they don't ask me, I feel bothered.
Yeah.
Because I just want to give back to that kid, and maybe inspire him in a way that one day he wants to sign autographs. That maybe uplifted him. And I always say, don't try to inspire 1,000 kids, even if it's just 1 or 2. You've done your job. That's all it takes. But coming back to selection, I'm 34 years old. You're up against a kid who's 20, 21. He's more energetic, more explosive, faster. He's got all the attributes that I also have. So now it's really tough. And it's not one of them, Bobs. It's maybe 3 or 4 of them in your position.
And there's more coming behind them.
There's more coming, So it's something that keeps me on my toes, keeps me fresh. I always try and do more. And I always try and do some things a little bit smarter. Because working more is not necessarily better for you going forward. So really tough. And to come to terms with it, you might not be selected this weekend or starting or off the bench. It's very difficult. And I think I mentioned it to you, the moment you stop feeling like you're not happy, not seeing your name, that's when you're getting comfortable. That's probably when you should call it. Like, I've had enough maybe, or I don't know what the reasons are, but if you feel like not being in a team, it's okay, you're saving yourself, you're resting or whatever so that I can have longevity in my career, then you probably should call it a day. But if you're competitive, you're getting stuck in every single day, you're giving your best, you're coming back home, your knees are sore, your feet's hot, your head's hot, my bald head in the Pretoria heat, it's burning, you know, your elbows is sore, it's niggle after niggle. That's when you still got that fire burning, and I think you should carry on going.
It's one of those things I lose the taste in my tongue when I think about being competitive. And I've always said to someone, if you're a professional sports person and you feel you have arrived, right? You feel like you have arrived, then you're in it for the wrong thing. I mean, like anyone, you know, you've put up men of the match performances, player of the match performances, but you got home and you were like, yes, that's not that great.
Yeah.
Like, how critical are you to yourself?
I was, what game were they watching? Because I feel like I played, last week I had a better game, but I wasn't man of the match. But today I was like,
it was average.
But I got man of the match, you know, so it's quite,
Because what I'm getting with Nizaam is like, it's so subjective.
Yeah.
Because even non-selection is subjective. Because I could be coming in here as a coach who likes a certain type of a loose forward. You might be hitting all the matrix and all the stats. But like dealing with that subjectivity, how do you become the positive Pete? When I say positive Pete, this is what I had to use when I was getting non-selection. I was like, you know what? I'm going to make sure that I'm ready anytime they call upon me.
Yeah.
I'm going to definitely be ready. And I'm going to make sure I am.
And that's exactly my mindset. And my dad always said to me, make sure you're ready when you get your opportunity. And that always stuck with me because it will be a disaster if, you know, you get to... Over the last few years, I haven't probably started games that I would have obviously liked to. But when I got a chance, I always felt like, you know, I took my opportunity. And it might sound arrogant in a way, but I always made sure recovery was on point, this was on point, that was ready. So when they call upon me, I need to be 100%, you know, all blazing, everything ready to go. And that's how it should be. It will be getting opportunity and you don't play so much and you bomb out. That must hurt so much because when next you're going to get opportunity now?
Why should anyone give you an opportunity?
And sometimes you get chances so little sometimes in your career. It might come now in the next 5 months because of you maybe should have gone home, but you had a late night with the boys. You should have maybe taken your recovery seriously, but you were out or, you know, you had this. And I will say it straight, my diet is probably not the best, but I do try, you know. So that's again a challenge for me. I love my KFC. The boys know it. The coaches know it. I love my chicken, my 8
everything in moderation.
My wings. So, but I don't let that sort of have an effect on my game. I always try and, you know, do the best that I can. You know, so.
You just got the shares up for that chicken company. But
when I get a sponsor, please give me a
sponsor. Be responsible. Be responsible. Let's talk. How do you track? I mean, I know you came through at the change of the like the 2010s and the 2011s, and I mean there wasn't much of notes taking in those team meetings. Teams sort of evolved, environments evolved. You've had experience of working in England and different unions in the country and different teams that you've been playing in, even Barbarians and all of that. And then the notebook started coming in and people are sort of tracking. How has that for you changed in the way that the players are holding themselves accountable to their own challenges and their training systems?
And I see it obviously in the Vodacom Bulls changing rooms and in our meetings. Boys are, and those are one of the things we always talk about. You need to take ownership, responsibility for your own role. And Jean de Villiers always said it well. Know your job, do your job. And if everybody does that, you'll get the result. 15 men all doing their job. You need to scrum, the hooker needs to, pinpoint throw dart his balls. The flank is working hard, 8's doing his job, linking up, 10's kicking. If everyone does their job, I'm sure you can get the result. And maybe it's as simple as that,
Yeah.
But early in my career, I probably never wrote down things, and you can't remember everything, Bobs.
True.
So it's very important that you need to jot down stuff, because tonight you might forget what the coach spoke about, and it's such important detail now, because the margin for error is it's any mistake teams capitalize.
Yeah.
That to cost you 7 points, 5 points, 3 points penalty, they'll slot it over or score a try. So those small cues, the small notes that you take down is only going to help you. And that's where the game's going. And it's more player-driven now. Taking up, the ownership is on yourself. And you need to know your detail. You need to be prepared once we run a map or a play tomorrow. And I said to myself, I never want to drop my name by not knowing a play or not knowing something in the game. I was the type of player, always made a lot of mistakes during the week. But come game day, I know, okay, and it's not a bad thing to make mistakes. That's how you get better.
That's what training is for.
Exactly. But we sometimes forget that training is for making mistakes. It doesn't have to look perfect. And there's old cliche that people mention, like if you have a bad captain's run, you're going to play well tomorrow. Or if you have a bad week, you're going to... All this stuff, and obviously in today's game, preparation is...
Key, yeah.
It's very key in anything that you do, any sphere of life, So, and that's how you should approach it. And I know I can't make that same mistake again, because I did it in the week. Now I know I need to maybe come with more depth onto the pass. I can't be flat. Your hands need to be softer, catching it and giving it away. So
what is my role in
exactly,
this
so
task?
small things like that, where you can write it down. Some boys, even overseas, had iPads, jotting down what they need to do, which I thought was, if that was your way, and to bring the best out of your performance Saturday, why not? I'm all for that.
Wow. I mean, you've been in so many environments, and you were there as a youngster. You were there as like just that middle age, the working pro, the man who's got 5 years, 50 odd caps behind him, and now you're a senior pro. Just not to compare environments, but what is an ideal environment for you when you have to sort of talk to it? Let's say once you're the director of rugby.
I think today, Bobs, the senior boys are a lot softer to the boys coming through the ranks now, which I think is a big part of today's game, and that could cost you in winning and losing. I'm not saying there should be authority or stuff like that, but you must have respect for your senior guys. And this is when I played my first cap for the Boks. You had Bakis Botha, you had Victor Matfield, Gio Aplon, all these, superstars. And you would know that they're the seniors and you're a junior. So your job is to almost earn their respect by doing something extra, carrying bags, carrying the water car, like doing some things that's for a youngster. And I feel like today we are, as like the senior guys, we're very soft on those things. And things like that creep into performances, and there will be sort of a lack in maybe preparation, because I think the senior guys are maybe not too hard on the younger boys coming through. For example, cleaning the shed after a game.
Yeah.
I shouldn't see a senior guy doing it, but
For you
if the
to
culture,
understand.
for you to understand that I
That's
need to
what we
pick up
do.
the broom, and because there's nothing wrong if a senior or junior does it, but if no juniors are doing it, there's probably something wrong in that team. They probably won't have the result in the end of the day.
Wow. I mean, that's interesting, because you talk about that hardness and I mean, to someone else, we always say teams that do well are the teams that are very honest. Doesn't mean they have to get along.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been stories of best partnerships of guys who don't get along.
Yeah.
Because they want to earn each other's respect.
Yeah.
Do you feel there's still that space in rugby? I know nowadays, I mean, you can think of yourself now as a parent compared to your parents. I mean, there's this soft parenting, that thing that we're doing. Do you think there is a space to still be not hierarchy, but in a way that someone can be called up and to make sure that there is no entitlement. No one is entitled. This is not your father's team. I always like to say that because every team that has been picked and a group that's been picked is a special group, right? Do you think there's a time to be the players themselves, to take it upon themselves and to just be like, guys, we're going to get hold of this. We can't, I mean, we can't be losing turnovers every time on the racks, but we know who's not cleaning there because everything is on tape.
No, of course, I think like when you can't get soft with boys, you need, especially at training, you need to tell them straight there and then that you're messing up and you're costing the team if you're not maybe at this rack, because now, for example, Sia needs to be at this rack. Ulrich has to do your job, or Cameron Arnekom has to do your job. And I've been in situations where boys hasn't been selected and they throw all their cards out of the I don't know the proper saying, but
out of the court,
yeah, and they're messing up training. They're going for silly things, intercepts, and disruptive of the practice. And I think that is part of a person being entitled. If you don't know your place and you can't go on the computer, for example, because that's how we do it now, and study your maps and stuff like that, that's entitlement. Or do you expect to be spoon-fed, like, okay, you run here, you do this, and at this fifth phase, you need to be here. That's entitlement, not getting selected, same thing. So everybody got different roles. It's quite tough for team cohesion, for everyone to connect and stuff like that. But in the end of the day, it's about winning and losing. Yes, the process, getting there, the memories and the journey is so important. But in the end of the day, you want to have silverware in the middle of your, in your cloakroom, in the huddle. So entitlement, you will never get it. You will never win trophies, And I think as senior players, we need to put our, people should put their foot down and be like, listen, we've got an issue with this. And it shouldn't come from coaches, because coaches shouldn't drive team culture. It should come from the players. They can maybe guide us or give us a guideline of how to go about things, or a couple of main pointers, and we can all align ourselves with that. But the boys need to take responsibility, like we mentioned before, if you have any issues, because that's how it should be.
Let's get excited. URC 2025, Nizaam Carr. Johan Ackerman has come up to Pretoria. Swan is looking different.
Yeah.
How's been the energy?
No, massive. Really, you can see the boys are really excited and they just want to go now. They had obviously their first hit out last week. We got a good result. I thought the Cheetahs was good. We've got another warm-up game coming up, I think, tomorrow. So everybody's refreshed. You can just feel the energy around the building, in the gym, on the rugby field. And I like, there's a lot of clowns in the team, so but it's lovely, obviously new coach, all refreshed, and I always say that, Jake has, been very good and stuff like that, took us to, I think, 3 or 4 finals, even won the Currie Cup as well under Marcel Coetzee as a captain, so, I wish him all the best going forward in his career. But he definitely, did well for the Vodacom Bulls, yeah.
And how do you feel your energy? I know giving back is massive for you. Perspective of, I've seen you coach, like you came to one of the charitable stuff that we did. Seen you at St. David's digging in and helping kids with their breakdown. I mean, how much joy do you get from that?
No, loads. I always try and take it back to my game, and I probably think you do the same. Like you wanna go back to how you saw it and stuff like that, or how you attacked. And funny enough, I know you used to hit incredibly hard. And,
no, I was a flanker in the centers. You know what I mean?
And,
I had to make sure.
One of the things I saw over in, I think it was in Newcastle, this massive picture of yourself. Am I right? At Newcastle Falcons, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw Russell Winter was also there.
Yep.
And on the other corner was Johnny Wilkinson. So, wow, Bob, that for me was really something special to see another, as they call it, the Safford doing well over there. So, but no, brilliant, man. But really excited for the URC season. I think the boys can't wait to go. And we're looking forward to it,
Nizaam, I can chat to you forever. And this is just the first of this. I think it's a first part of the true stories, the real stories. That's what Keeping It Rugby means to me. I want to meet the people. I want the people to meet the person that is behind that name that they always shout at, either celebrating or admiring from far. And for us to have these conversations, because it's important, we've got a responsibility to the ones after us to share the light, to give them something that they can hold on to. But I thank you for your time. Time is precious. It's something that we really do appreciate. And what a time, man. Thank you so much. All the best with the season. You only said you only got about 6 weeks on your rehab. Godspeed on that, and thank you so much, bro.
No, thank you so much, and really happy to be here again. I hope I get another opportunity to visit you again.
No, we definitely. I mean, for us, this is cheap money therapy.
No, Bob's really happy to be here and looking forward, as I said, to the URC, and I'm sure I'll bump into you again. Over at the games and stuff like that.
No, we'll carry on those talks. Oh, this is the Kerr Report. It's Gcobani Bobo here with Nizaam Carr, a legend, a person, before just a rugby player, someone that has inspired us. We wish him well to his recovery. Don't go anywhere. Please like this thing. Please like and subscribe, because this is the only chance we can talk and own our stories and own our truth. This is Keeping It Rugby, keeping it real.